Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video today. My name is Joanne and today I'm going to be talking to you about the speaking section of the IELTS exam. Today I will be focusing on part 1 of the speaking exam, so be sure to check out the other videos in this series for more help. As you can see here, the speaking and listening sections of the exam are the same for both the academic and the general IELTS exam. This video series will be helpful for many people, but it will include information for obtaining a Band 7 score, which is often needed for university applications. As I have said in previous videos, the speaking exam lasts roughly 15 minutes and is split into 3 parts. Today, I will be focusing on part 1 of the exam, which is the introduction and interview section of the exam. This part lasts roughly 5 minutes. As I said, part 1 of the speaking exam is the introduction and interview section of the exam. In this section, the examiner introduces themselves and asks you to introduce yourself and confirm your identity. Then, the examiner asks you general questions on familiar topics, for example, home or studies. Today, our topic is holidays and travel. Part 2 of the speaking exam is the individual long turn. In this section, the examiner gives the candidate a task card, which asks the candidate to talk about a particular topic. The card includes points to cover in their talk and instructs the candidate to explain one aspect of the topic. Candidates are given 1 minute to prepare their talk and are given a pencil and piece of paper to make notes. The examiner then asks the candidate to talk for 1 to 2 minutes about the topic. Finally, part 3 of the exam is the two-way discussion, and this lasts between 4 and 5 minutes. In this section, the examiner asks further questions which are connected to the topic in part 2 of the exam. These questions give you the opportunity to discuss more abstract issues and ideas. In the speaking exam, a wide range of speaking skills are assessed by the IELTS examiners. For example, the ability to communicate opinions and information on everyday topics and common experiences and situations by answering a range of questions. The ability to speak at length on a given topic, using appropriate language and organizing ideas coherently, and the ability to express and justify opinions, analyze, discuss, and speculate about issues. Also, during the exam, you are assessed on your performance throughout the test by certified IELTS examiners, according to the IELTS speaking test assessment criteria. The criteria are weighted equally, and the speaking band score is the average. As I'm covering part 1 in today's video, it will be helpful for me to focus on lexical resource. I'll be covering other marking criteria in other videos. So, what is lexical resource? This refers to how much vocabulary the candidate has and how well they use it, as well as the rules of language at a word level. This criteria considers the communicative functions of speech and the social meaning of speech. So, as I mentioned in part 1 of the exam, the examiner asks general questions on some familiar topics, such as home, family, work, studies, or interests. This part of the test focuses on the candidate's ability to communicate opinions and information on everyday topics and common experiences or situations by answering a range of questions. Today's topic is holidays and travel. Let's take a look at some vocabulary that will help you talk about your holidays and travel. So, can you match the phrases on the left to their meanings? Let's look at number 1 first. Number 1 is a holiday, which is in British English. Number 2, a day off. Number 3, to rough it. Number 4, to go people watching. I suggest that you pause the video here to make a note of your answers. Now, let's take a look at some more vocabulary that will help you talk about your holidays and travel. Number 5 is to go self-catering. Number 6, to be pampered. Number 7, a package holiday. And number 8, to get away from it all. Again, I suggest that you pause the video here to make a note of your answers. Now, let's take a look at the answers. So, a holiday in British English is a period away from work for leisure. A day off is a single day when one does not go to work. To rough it means to stay in places with no luxuries. To go people watching is to observe the behavior of others. To go self-catering is to have a kitchen and cook for oneself. To be pampered is to receive luxurious treatment. A package holiday is a holiday where everything is organized by a travel agent for a set price. To get away from it all is to escape from one's daily life. I suggest that you pause the video here and make a note of any of the answers that you got wrong or any that you found difficult or confusing. Let's take a look at our first model question and answer. So the question is, what kinds of holidays do you most enjoy? And the answer is, I enjoy roughing it in various European countries. I particularly like camping because I love to explore the countryside. I have a busy life, so when I go on holiday, I suppose I just want to get away from it all. Now, that's a solid Band 6 answer. As I mentioned, one of the marking criterion is lexical resource, or the candidate's vocabulary and how well they use it. So, how do you think we can improve this answer? Here is the marking criteria for a Band 7 answer regarding lexical resource. As you can see, you can make some inappropriate word choices, but you should be able to use vocabulary flexibly and use some less common idiomatic vocabulary. You can find all the marking criteria on the IELTS website. So, in order to improve our answer, we should try to use some more advanced vocabulary. So, our question was, what kinds of holidays do you most enjoy? And you can see that in this example, I changed busy to hectic. It is important to remember not to memorize your answers, as that will appear unnatural, but you can memorize powerful phrases or words. Try to also memorize the pronunciation of the words and how to use them in a sentence. So let's take a look at another question. The question is, where's the best place to go on holiday? And the example answer is, for me, Spain is the best place to go on holiday. The food is very tasty and the people are relaxed and friendly. Also, it's very warm in the summer, so camping is very comfortable. I have been to Spain 7 times and I still want to go back. So, how do you think we can improve this answer? Remember, instead of using the most common verbs, try to choose a more advanced verb phrase. Here, in this example, you can see that I changed for me to in my opinion, and I changed very tasty to delicious. So here is the third question for today, and the question is, tell me about something you often do when you're on holiday. And the answer is, I often go fishing when I'm on holiday. I take a small fishing rod with me in my backpack so I can fish whenever I have the chance. I never catch very much because I don't know anything about the local fish in other countries, but it's always very relaxing. So, how do you think we could improve this answer? Remember, the question was, tell me about something you often do when you're on holiday. So let's see how I tried to improve this answer. As you can see, I added in bait and tackle. And I changed never catch very much to don't have much luck. Make sure that you choose advanced vocabulary that still fits the sentence structure. So, here is our final question of the day. And the question is, who do you usually go on holiday with? The answer is, I usually go on holiday by myself these days. I used to go with my parents, of course, but they always wanted to do different things. For example, they love architecture, so they want to look at buildings in cities. But I love beautiful natural scenery. So when I go on holiday by myself, I only need to worry about what I want to do. So, how do you think we could improve this answer? So, remember, the question was, who do you usually go on holiday with? So what did I do to improve this answer? As you can see, I changed do to experience, and I changed worry about to consider. Here you can see all of the example questions from today's video. The questions were, what kinds of holidays do you enjoy most? Where's the best place to go on holiday? Tell me about something you often do when you're on holiday. And who do you usually go on holiday with? I suggest that you make a note of these questions so you can practice at home. When you are practicing your answers, remember to try to check your answers against the marking criteria to see where you can improve. Hi everyone, I'm Joanne, and today I'm going to talk to you about the speaking section of the IELTS exam. And in today's video, I will be focusing on part 2 of the speaking exam. Here you can see that the speaking and listening exams are the same for both the academics and general IELTS exam. The speaking exam lasts roughly 15 minutes and is split into 3 parts, with each part lasting about 5 minutes. Today, I'll be focusing on part 2 of the exam. As I said, the speaking exam lasts roughly 15 minutes, with part 1 lasting about 5 minutes. In this section, the examiner introduces himself and asks you to introduce yourself and confirm your identity. Then the examiner asks you general questions on some familiar topics, such as home, family, studies, work, or interests. Part 2 of the exam is the individual long term. In this section, the examiner gives the candidate a task card which asks the candidate to talk about a particular topic, and it includes points that the candidate should cover in their talk and instructs the candidate to explain one aspect of the topic. Candidates are given 1 minute to prepare their talk and are given a pencil and paper to make notes. The examiner then asks the candidate to talk for 1 to 2 minutes and will stop the candidate after 2 minutes and ask some follow-up questions. This part of the test focuses on the candidate's ability to speak at length on a given topic, so it is likely that the candidate will need to draw on his or her own experience to complete this long term. Finally, part 3 of the exam is the two-way discussion. This section lasts about 4 or 5 minutes. In it, the examiner asks further questions which are connected to the topic of part 2. These questions give you an opportunity to discuss more abstract issues and ideas. A wide range of speaking skills are assessed, including the ability to communicate opinions and information on everyday topics and common experiences and situations by answering a range of questions, the ability to speak at length on a given topic, using appropriate language and organizing ideas coherently, and the ability to express, justify opinions, and to analyze, discuss, and speculate about issues. You are assessed on your performance throughout the test by certified IELTS examiners according to the IELTS Speaking Test assessment criteria. The criteria are weighted equally and the speaking band score is the average. Today I'm covering part 2, so it's a good time to focus on fluency and coherence. So, what is fluency and coherence? Well, fluency and coherence refers to how good the candidate is at talking at the right speed and how good they are at connecting their ideas together. The candidate needs to be able to understand and follow the rules of language at a word, sentence, and text level. Here you can see the marking criteria for fluency and coherence. As you can see, you can at times hesitate, repeat yourself, or self-correct, but you should be able to speak at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. As I said, part 2 is the individual long term. In this section, the examiner gives the candidate a task card, which asks the candidate to talk about a particular topic. It includes points to cover and instructs the candidate to explain one aspect of the topic. Candidates are given 1 minute to prepare their talk and a pencil and paper to make notes. The examiner then asks the candidate to talk for 1 to 2 minutes and will stop the candidate after 2 minutes to ask 1 or 2 questions on the same topic. In this section of the test, I recommend drawing on your own life experiences in your answer, since you will need to speak at length. Knowing the meaning of a word is much easier than using it correctly. Let's see if you can use some holiday-related words correctly. Look at the options and try to select the correct one. Our options in number 1 are rural or countryside. Our options in number 2 are two people watching or people watching. Our options in number 3 are city or urban. Our options in number 4 are to pamper or being pampered. Our options in number 5 are holiday or on holiday. Pause the video here to make a note of your answers. Now let's check the answers. Number 1, it's a beautiful rural area. Number 2, I like people watching. Number 3, it's in the city. Number 4, I love being pampered. Number 5, when I'm on holiday, I try to relax. I suggest making a note of any that you find confusing or difficult. Here is an example task card. The task card says, tell me about a memorable holiday you took. You should say, where this holiday took place, when it happened, what happened on this holiday, and explain what was memorable about it. Your teacher will ask you 1 or 2 follow-up questions and then give you some feedback after. Now, during the planning time, I suggest writing 1 or 2 words per bullet point. Then, when you are speaking, you can move your hand down as you cover each bullet point. This will help to ensure you cover all of the points. Let's take another look at the question. The question was, tell me about a memorable holiday you took. You should say where this holiday took place, when it happened, what happened on this holiday, and explain what was memorable about it. So, in my example, I'm going to write the following words. Harbin Snow and Ice Festival, January 2017, ice sculptures, beautiful, cold. Remember, you have 1 minute to prepare, so use your time wisely. After your preparation time finishes, your 2-minute speaking time begins. So, I could start with my first bullet point and say, one of my most memorable holidays was when I went to the Snow and Ice Festival in Harbin, China. I would then move on to bullet point 2 and say, I went to the Snow and Ice Festival in January of 2017 during a holiday from work for Chinese New Year. I would then move on to the third bullet point and say, I mainly spent my time walking around the different exhibition areas, admiring the giant sculptures. I remember one beautiful snow sculpture that was of a huge Buddha. I would then move on to the next and final bullet point and say, it was extremely memorable, as it has to be one of the coldest places I have ever been. I remember at one point walking across a giant frozen river. Also, being in such a frozen place, surrounded by one-of-a-kind works of art, is breathtakingly beautiful. Now that you have covered all 4 of your bullet points, you can speak about the experience until your 2 minutes are up. I could also say, this holiday was amazing and memorable. It gave me the opportunity to go somewhere I have never been before. I got to experience a climate I never have before and see so many beautiful things. Now it's your turn. If you haven't already, please get a pencil and some paper and write down 4 bullet points on it. Here's your question. Tell me about the worst holiday you have ever been on. You should say where this holiday took place, when it happened, what happened on this holiday, and explain what was bad about it. Remember, you have 1 minute to prepare. You should write 1 or 2 words per bullet point. When your 1 minute is up, your 2 minutes of speaking time begins. When you're speaking, don't forget to move your hand down as you cover each bullet point. This will help to ensure you cover all of your points. Let's take another look at the question. The question was, tell me about the worst holiday you have ever been on. You should say where this holiday took place, when it happened, what happened on this holiday, and explain what was bad about it. You can pause the video here and time yourself for your preparation and your practice speaking. When you're finished, check your answers against the marking criteria and try to think about what you could improve next time. Hi everyone, I'm Joanne and today I'm going to talk to you about the speaking section of the IELTS exam. Today I will be focusing on part 3 of the IELTS exam. As I said, today we are focusing on part 3, so remember to take a look at our other videos in this series for more information on the IELTS exam itself, marking criteria, exam tips, useful phrases, as well as example questions and model answers. So, part 3 of the IELTS exam is the two-way discussion. In this section, the examiner will ask you further questions relating to the topic of part 2 of the exam. In this section, you will be able to discuss more abstract issues and ideas. Today, I will be focusing on grammatical range and accuracy. So, what is grammatical range and accuracy? Well, it refers to the candidate's ability to use a range of structures and how well they use them. As well as the rules of language, this criteria considers the communicative functions of speech. Here you can see the marking criteria for a Band 7 answer. As you can see, you can make some grammatical mistakes, but you must frequently produce error-free sentences and use a range of complex structures. When you're finished practicing at home, remember to check your answers against the marking criteria and think about what you could do to improve your answer next time. Keeping in mind the grammar marking criteria we've just looked at, here's our first sample question for today. And our question is, how have holidays changed in the past 100 years? So, what kind of grammar structures do you think we can use in our answer? Remember, the question was, how have holidays changed in the past 100 years? When I read that question, some grammar structures come to mind. For example, talking about past habits and using past modals. So, here's a model answer with those suggested grammar points highlighted. Our question was, how have holidays changed in the past 100 years? And the answer is, holidays have changed greatly in the past 100 years. In the early 19th century, holidays could only be taken by wealthy individuals in order to better their health. In the 1930s, paid holiday plans started to be offered. Moving forward, foreign travel would have only been available to wealthy individuals. Most people would have travelled by car. Flying was very glamorous and expensive in the 1950s. The 1990s in the UK saw the rise of budget airlines, which would make flying more accessible. So, let's take a look at another question. The question is it better to take holidays in one's own country or overseas? So, when you see this question, what grammar points come to mind? Remember, the question was, is it better to take holidays in one's own country or overseas? The grammar points that I thought of were comparisons. And we can use comparisons to compare 2 points. Here's a model answer with the different grammar points highlighted. So remember, our question was, is it better to take holidays in one's own country or overseas? And the suggested answer is, in my opinion, there are pros and cons of taking holidays both overseas and in one's own country. When taking a holiday in one's own country, people may be able to spend much less money on travel, and therefore have more money to spend on other things. It also creates the opportunity for people to learn more about their own country, as they can explore it as a tourist. However, I believe that going on holiday overseas can feel more exciting than going on holiday in one's own country. This increased excitement can make overseas travel more appealing than holidays in one's own country for many people. So, another skill that the examiner will be assessing is how well the candidate pronounces the language. As well as a communicative effect of the candidate's pronunciation, there is evaluation of how much strain it causes the listener and how noticeable the accent is, although the accent itself is not a problem. candidates need to be able to produce the phonological features of speech. Here you can see the marking criteria for a Band 7 answer. As you can see, mispronunciation of individual words or sounds may happen, but you should generally be understood. So, let's take a look at another example question and its model answer, this time with a special focus on the pronunciation of that answer. So, our model question is, what is the main purpose of going on holiday? Remember, the question was, what is the main purpose of going on holiday? And the suggested answer is, in my opinion, there are many reasons for going on holiday, but I believe the overall main purpose is to enhance your quality of life. The experience of going on holiday gives people a break from their everyday life and routines. This allows people to reset and recharge whilst having fun and potentially learning about a new place. So we've got some tricky words in this answer. I recommend breaking those words down into syllables and practicing them again and again so that you can say these tricky words without much effort. So remember, the question was, what is the main purpose of going on holiday? And as you can see, this time I have broken down the trickier words into their syllables. So the first one is enhance. Then we have experience. And then potentially. So I suggest making a note of any words that you find difficult to say and repeating them several times until they feel more natural. And remember, you can always check your pronunciation by Googling a word if you're unsure. So our tip of the day is, remember to listen to the question carefully and then answer the question that was asked. Thank you for watching this video today, and I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. My fellow Intrepid English teachers and I will be back again soon. Bye! Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and check out our other videos. You can find loads of useful links in the description below. Let's get started!